Welcome to the You Are More podcast. I'm Blaine Ledbetter.
And I'm Laken Stewart. If you're looking for an authentic community that shares the truth of the gospel and the truth about life, you've come to the right place.
We believe that you are more. You're more than motherhood, more than your ministry, and more than your career. Grab a cup of coffee and listen in to hear the truth about what it means to find your identity in Christ through every season of life.
Welcome to the You Are More podcast.
Hello, podcast listeners. We are so glad to be back. It is officially 2024.
How is that even possible, Blaine?
I don't know.
It's
Wow.
like we blinked and 2023 is over.
It is. And I am just, wow. I hope everyone had the best Christmas, the best New Year celebrations, all the New Year's superstitions of the like black-eyed peas and
Sauerkraut.
ham hock, sauerkraut, greens.
I don't do any of that.
Whatever. We don't either. I'm just gonna eat what's in the kitchen.
Probably leftovers or pizza.
But if you did, we hope that it was the best. Ringing in the new year. And today's podcast, if you've not read the title, you're just tuning in. If this is your first time to listen with us,
welcome.
We are starting 2024 with New Year, Say Me, because I think there's a stigma, and I especially get very overwhelmed and burdened down with, okay, it's a new year. I have to have goals. I have to transform myself. I'm going to start off on a good foot. Let me get a brand new planner and I'm going to clean out my entire house. And we are ready to go. Well, we're just going to start 2024 and say, New Year, say me.
Because nothing's really going to change.
And
if you're there, that's great. If you're not, good for you.
If you are turning over a new leaf, we can definitely evolve as people. And I do hope that we are growing and maturing, but the same me is still going to leave the laundry in the washer for way too long.
And then you have to wash it again.
And I'm going to, yeah. That's just me. I'm going to leave the sink full of dishes for way too long.
I'm going to overfill the dishwasher. So then I have to run
Always.
It 3 times every time.
Yep. Gonna have to rewash 2 or 3 things because didn't get, that same me. Our house is still going to be messy. I have no resolutions. I have 0 resolutions. I started back at the gym in October, November, something like that, because I knew if I start in the new
January,
year,
it's gonna fall off.
I'll never keep it up. I need to go ahead and get in that rhythm. So we're
good for
here.
you. Good for you.
Guess what? We're going to keep up this podcast for as long as we, want to and have fun. But here we are.
Here we are. New Year, say me.
So let's go ahead. Yeah.
I was just going to ask what, pick your top 3 favorite moments of 2023. What do you think those were looking back?
Oh gosh. Our family vacation, we got to go to the beach. Mainly just seeing the kids so happy and no obligations. For a week, that's, trips are always my highlight. Andrew and I celebrated 10 years of marriage, which is just crazy. And then, gosh, 3. I'm trying to think the whole year.
You don't have to have 3.
Yeah, just seeing kind of our church, I don't know, it just felt like this shift and this turning point at the church, in the best ways. And so maybe we'll get back to that later, but I don't know, in a very good sense. So yeah. How about you?
Yeah. I've been thinking about it, and 2023 was just a really hard year for us. Really hard year for our family, for our ministry life. Working through a lot of like leftover trauma from my husband's previous job and just thinking through how all of that works. But there were some like pretty great moments amidst all of the terribleness of it. I also loved seeing my kids at the beach. We went to the beach for the first time as a family and visited my
Yeah.
grandma, and that was just
Oh,
really
yay.
sweet. And the girls love the beach. Like Charlotte still asks to go to the beach probably once a week. And we're like, girl, we are in a landlocked state now. That's not
Yep.
happening.
Yep.
And then probably my next favorite moment of 2023. See, I asked this question and then I don't have an answer for it myself.
There were
Would
just so
probably, I
much.
know, would probably be moving to Illinois. That's not really a moment, but it's more like a season that we're still in the midst of. Like I consider us still moving because we're trying
Oh,
to
yeah.
work all of our routines out and it changes every
Yeah.
week because the kids are sick every other week. So it's like working through new routines, new schedules, new jobs, new home, new everything. It's kind of an exciting thing, but also like draining. So like financially draining, emotionally draining, like the move itself. But it's been really, really good for our family. Like we've had an entire week this week to just spend together and like go do fun things. Like my parents got us passed to the aquarium in St. Louis and we did
Oh,
that.
that's
And
fun.
just like fun things. Like we went and got library cards yesterday, which was just something that I've been wanting to do, but haven't had the time yet.
Yeah.
And so this was really like the first week since moving here that we've been able to just be. And it's been really, really good. Cause like as soon as we moved, it was like hit the ground running. Cody went to an offsite retreat for his new job.
Yep.
Literally 3 days after we moved. And I was just left here with my kids, figuring out what to do next.
Yep. The craziness. Yeah.
And then probably my last favorite moment was we bought a minivan, which I told myself I would never,
You're on
ever,
the minivan
ever,
mafia.
I would never be a minivan mom.
Same.
But here we are. I always wanted to be a Lexus SUV mom, but that's just not in the cards when your husband's in ministry.
Nope. That is so outside of.
Oh man.
Yep.
Anything I will ever own. But yeah, those were probably some of my favorite moments of 2023. But
yeah, well, obviously starting this podcast
definitely top of the list too. Yeah.
I know. I almost feel like I need to go back through all my pictures just to be like, oh yeah, that was a fun. But this year wasn't like anything extraordinary or groundbreaking, you know, like you guys had to move, which is huge. That's a huge change. But I feel like we've almost been in that like, okay, we're waking back up kind of season and like realizing like, okay, the sun has risen and like, okay, light has come and it's gonna be okay. We can thrive. Not that, you know, 2023 doesn't hold some hard things, but like, I don't know. I hope this is like y'all's year for that, but man, it's
I hope so too.
Breath of fresh air.
I'm really excited for 2024 and just seeing how God uses us where we are now.
Right.
Because a year ago, if you'd have told me I'd be sitting here recording a podcast in the Midwest, I'd be like, you're a crazy person because that's not happening.
I know. I'd be
but gosh,
like,
it's so good.
Time?
It's so good. And it also like the move just happened so fast that I feel like I still have not processed it. Like have not processed leaving where we came from and getting here. Like to give you some perspective on timeline, like July 2023, we decided, okay, we're going to just take a beat. You know, we're open to where God wants us to go, but we feel a strong release from where we are. And that was like an answered prayer to finally feel that release because it had been a season of Cody wants to leave. I want to stay. I want to leave. Cody wants to stay. And so we were finally like both on the same page in July of 2023. And so I had a stipulation of like, the only way you're getting me to move anywhere is if like you get a cold call from somebody. And it was like the last week of July, and I kid you not, he got a text from the senior pastor that of the church we go to now. And he was like, "Hey, we have this position open. Do you want to chat?" And I was like,
Wow.
"Okay, that's it." And literally 2 months later, we moved. So it was just a whirlwind of, we came for visits here. We came for 2 visits. And then Cody went on a mission trip to Malawi, Africa. And then the next week we moved after he got back.
Yeah.
It was just kind of insane. So I still
a
have
roller
not
coaster.
like fully processed, like, we left some really good friends in Virginia, but also we left a lot of people I probably don't ever want to see again. But yeah, it was just a whirlwind, and just we're incredibly thankful for where we are now. So yeah.
That's awesome. So what are you leaving behind as we move into 2024? And or what did this past year teach you?
Yeah. I want to leave behind kind of mistrust of people and kind of move forward. It's making me want to cry. 2023 was just really, really hard for us, for our family, and just thinking about it. And like, it was probably like, we had a lot of hard years like before this, but
yeah,
like with health and things, but like this year was like emotionally and spiritually hard, which you don't like. It wasn't necessarily like a physically hard year with health issues and things like that,
right.
but it like took a big toll on our marriage. And just, I want to leave behind all of the negative things that I feel about where we were before, because it's not doing me any good to dwell on it and to think about it.
Yeah.
No, it's not. And so I want to move into 2024 with just more trust of people that come up to me at our new church, and like, I don't have to immediately be on guard and feel like, oh my gosh, they just want something from me, or they're out here to like sabotage something, or like I need to just lay all of that mistrust down, because Lord, a wall has been built and I need to break it down. So yeah, I need to, in 2024, and this is something I've been like actively thinking about, praying about, seeking, the word and what it has to say about walls that you've built for yourself, and just guarding your heart, and something that I just have to break down. And it's going to take time. Like, we've only been in our new spot for just over 2 months now. And I still feel like this immediate, like if someone comes up and introduces themselves, I'm like, what do they want? What are they going to do?
Right.
And
you got that.
It's a big like wall. So I'm trying to break it down.
Mechanism.
Yeah. And just definitely need to go to see a therapist and talk about it and like figure all that out. And both Cody and I probably would benefit just from some marriage counseling. We went at the end of 2022. We did a few months of marriage counseling, and that was really helpful for us. And but honestly didn't prepare us for what we went through in 2023. So
I don't know that anything could have.
Seriously.
Oh gosh.
It was and like sometimes I still care what those people think, and that's just something that I have to let go. Like, it's not serving me at all. It's just the devil's way.
As someone who doesn't care what people think at all of my friends can tell you, I do not care. Yeah, just release it, because it is just so freeing.
I know. That's something that I've never been able to not care. Like, I think I would, to put up face, I would be like, yeah, I don't care. But deep down in my truest self, like, I really do care. And when some person comes to you and says everything to you that your worst nightmare, like, it's just, it cuts deep, and like wondering, like, what do they think that we left, or like, how are blah blah. It's just like, I don't even know what to say. It's just hard. And
Well, it's like Satan validates everything that you've
yeah,
ever thought. And you're
it
like,
was,
well,
and it was
I
like,
was right. Satan's right. He's got
yep,
it.
that's what it was. And it was like not from the Lord at all.
Mhm.
Anything that, I mean, I think the Lord used it to like refine us.
Yeah.
But in the middle of it, I was like, God, what on earth are you doing to us right now? Like, why are you letting this happen?
The only time that I do quote unquote care what people think is if people closest to us in our community, if my
Mm,
closest friends or circle came to me and was like, hey, I see this sin in your life and I just want to call it out and get you like
mm,
snap out of it. That is about the only time that I would even venture to care. But anybody who like attacks our church, our
is on the
marriage, our
periphery.
family,
Yeah.
yeah, who has no idea and just sees,
Their box of information.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm like,
Bye, Felicia.
could not care
Yeah.
less by Felicia for sure.
Yeah.
I think,
Yeah. What are you gonna leave behind in 2023?
I said no to a lot of things in 2023, like
Mm.
randomly, things I didn't want to quit, things I didn't want to say no to. But definitely still need to leave behind like feeling obligated to do, and we've touched on this in like some of our ministry episodes, but like,
Mm.
oh, well, you need to do that because of your role in the church.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
like I didn't start a Sunday morning small group just because we needed it or like Andrew told me to or it was expected. I was just like, let's just get people together in community and I want to teach through this theology basics and like it
Yeah.
has been so good. But just leaving behind that like, oh, well, you're expected to do this or there's nobody else to do this, so why
So
don't
it
you do
falls to
it?
you.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, there were things that I was involved in that like just have to say no to this year
Mhm.
that I still don't kind of understand. But like even the whole leading worship thing, I mean, I can um would love to, just a couple songs here and there, but like a constant commitment, I cannot do that with
3 kids.
3 kids supporting Andrew in his ministry because there's
Mm.
so much to do
Yeah.
at our church that falls on him. And so just how can I like free myself up to like really be his right
Yeah.
hand woman?
Yeah.
And like so I can't do everything. So even though
Mm.
that is like talent that I have,
Mm.
I don't want to feel obligated anymore to serve that way just because
Mm.
it's there. Like
Yeah.
I can definitely use my voice in other ways. So and then just oh gosh, like on the mistrust thing, like
Mm.
oh my gosh.
It's so hard, isn't it? It's just so hard to break.
It is, but
Yeah.
this year taught me that I can trust people, period.
Mm.
Like it is possible to have a community that like actually cares and is not rooted in gossip or comparison or, you know, secrets or like sin.
What they
Not
can
that
get
like our
from you.
previous community was,
Oh,
but
yeah.
yeah, it's not, I mean, like it's all out there. Like we tell each other like the hard
Mm-hmm.
stuff. We go there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like it's possible to trust people and know that like people really do love our family and like our village with our kids. Like friends are possible. I was a part of a small group that I never thought I'd be part of, that one of my friends started. And it was all about, finding your people and just like breaking down those walls of mistrust. And I mean, they were built up so high because of the betrayal that I experienced a few years ago that I was just like, I never want to be a part of another small group. I can't trust anybody. Like there are no friends out there for me. like it's hard to have friends in ministry, and I know you know that. Like,
Oh, yes.
it's hard for anybody to get close to you because nobody wants to be friends with the pastor and his wife because they'll know all your business. And I'm just like, no, like I really have found the best, just people I can trust and who can tell me hard things, who I can tell hard things, and just like forgiving the people that hurt you, first of all, even if they never hear it, but forgiving them, that way you can just release it and move forward. Like, it's huge. I mean, it's like a weight lifted off. And so I'm really like, I've got the most random, and I do want to write more about this, maybe post it on social media, but just like what I prayed for in 2022 is like so abundantly more. The most random groups of friends that really are like a healing balm to the soul. And the things that were hard can still be good things. I'm reading The Hard Good by Lisa Whittle, and
I'm gonna write that down.
Oh, you should definitely read that book.
I do have goals for 2024, and that is one of them, to read more.
Well, and I've listened to it because sitting down to read a book is just like, oh, I can't.
Impossible.
But that one I've been listening to the past couple weeks, and it has definitely, there are things that she said, and there was one thing she said that I immediately texted one of our mutual friends that we work with and was like, listen to what she just said in this book. And it was that, and it's so true, and you don't realize it until you've been hurt, but sick people, or people who are not well, don't like to be sick alone. And so, you know, people who are hurting, they don't want to stay sick by themselves. So
hurt people. Yeah.
And it spreads like a sickness. And so they want to infect other people because they don't want to be in their misery by themselves. And so just knowing that and releasing people. And you know, not everyone's out there to hurt you, but like when people haven't dealt with their own job, they're gonna hurt other people. And I know that I've hurt people, and I know that I will, and I'll disappoint people who are my friends and like not be there when I should for them. But like, seriously, I was just like, yeah. And I hope that they get well, but it's not going to be at my expense.
I know I recently heard a sermon at our church now, and I'm trying to find it on our app that we have, because it was seriously like one of the most profound things.
Oh, and we'll also add all this stuff to our show notes, like link to this book,
link to this sermon.
Yeah, for sure.
There was one sermon that was preached a couple of weeks ago. It was talking about light versus darkness. And gosh, it makes me tear up. I'm just emotional today. I don't know why. But it was like, there are the gist of, I'm going to butcher the scripture, but the gist of it was, some people think that their darkness is light and how deep that darkness is. And I think that's exactly what we experienced in Virginia. Was people that we came in contact with, families that were involved in everything that happened there, like they wholeheartedly, truly believe that they are the light. And gosh, like how deep that darkness is. Yeah. It's just, and I need to pray for them. And that's been hard to think about, praying for someone who has hurt you so much. But goodness gracious, I think all of us know someone who think that they are just the bee's knees and just so holy. It's just, and who are we to judge and say, oh, their light is darkness? But there are some, like, I think God points us to these things of like, you have an intuition about people you meet from day one. Yeah. And most of the time your intuition is not wrong. And it's usually from the Lord.
Holy Spirit. Listen to it.
And I just, when I heard that, it was just so profound. I'll have to find the scripture. I can't remember exactly what it was, but I think it was in Isaiah. But it was just so difficult to think about that particular thing.
And
Yeah.
also, like, on that note, that is one truth, is that, you know, darkness can be disguised as light.
Hmm.
But also, I had heard in a podcast or something that I was listening to one day, but like, you know, seeds can't grow unless they're buried in darkness.
Hmm.
And so there's still growth. So even, you know,
There's still
on the
growth
flip
in the
side of it,
darkness. Yeah.
yes, like there's a wounding in the earth, but there's still like a planting and there's growth that's still
Mm.
happening under the surface. And so, like, you know, I've got some friends in darkness, but the hope that I want them to have is that, like, you are still growing even when this pit,
Hmm.
like, is covered in dirt.
Mud and
There's
mire.
still
Yeah.
growth. Yeah, I mean, that's what I've, like, last year and the year before that, just felt like darkness. And I knew I wasn't the light, and the light was coming, but it
Yeah.
wasn't, it wasn't there. And so, you
Yeah.
know, it's peeking through the soil and the growth is sprouting. And so just knowing that that's the flip side of it, like,
Hmm.
you know, don't be deceived into thinking that what you think is your light, you're doing so good, is actually
Yeah.
like darkness, and it's really a deception of the devil. But at the same time, like, if you think about the analogy, you know, that I just shared, like, there's still hope, the
growth
light is
that can
coming.
happen. Yeah.
Mhm.
There
Yeah.
is a light at the end of the tunnel.
Yes. So what, so in knowing what you've been through this past year, and me too, but like, what are your, I don't want to say goals or
Hmm.
hopes or resolutions, but maybe hopes.
Maybe that
like
is, yeah,
what
hopes.
what are you looking forward to this year that, like,
Yeah.
you can actively work towards? Because it is New Year's, same us, but at the same time, like,
You
what
can think through things that you want to do
yeah, what are you
differently.
praying for,
Yeah.
and what are you looking for?
When we moved, Cody and I sat down and we're like, okay, what are 3 things that we want to prioritize in this move in the next year, 5 years, 10 years of our life?
Yeah.
And 3 things came to mind. One of those was family rhythms or routine, making sure that we have like healthy rhythms and we're not running ragged. We're getting time carved out for us individually, for us as a couple together, for us with our
Yes.
kids. Like, that was one. Another was time in the Word, which is something that I have always, always, always struggled with. And then third was fun, like keeping
Yeah,
things
good.
light and fun.
Uh-huh.
Because if you're not having fun, you're doing something wrong. So,
Yeah,
and
for
not
sure. I
every
love
day,
fun.
yeah, not every day is going to be fun, and that's okay. But you can find like 2 or 3 minutes to like have fun and like
Yeah.
get your mind off the hard and get your mind off, you know, wherever else it is, and just be present, focus on the
Yeah.
moment, and have fun. And with all of that comes a lot of discipline in, I usually pick a word of the year, which is very just cliche, but I usually do pick a word
Yeah.
to kind of focus on. And I honestly don't remember what my word is for 2023.
I did not pick one, so I'm glad you did. I know a lot of people who do that, but I'm like, just one. I don't even know the
I
definition of
know.
half the words I know.
No, but my word for 2024 is slower. Like being slower in decision making, being slower in how we do things financially, being slower in how I react to my kids, how I react to my husband, and being slower in our routine.
Yeah.
We're living a pretty fast-paced life right now where every night of the week it's something, whether Cody's out of the house or the kids were doing a small group or whatever.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, we're taking this weekend, Cody and I, to like really carve out time when the kids are in bed, or, you know, thinking through how are we going to serve our family well by being slower. Because truthfully, this is like I said earlier, like this is the first week we've had since we moved here that we've been
Yeah.
able to just be for a minute
Yeah.
and not have to be pulled in a million different directions. Now, Cody is preaching on main stage this weekend, so there is that pressure, but
Yeah.
he hasn't had to really go into the office this week, and so we've been able to spend a lot of time with the kids after my parents left. And but yeah, that's kind of my outlook on 2024 is just developing healthy rhythms, prioritizing body, mind, spirit in those, and then being slow and having fun. Like, I think that's probably my top 3 things.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I alluded to it, but like I spent 2023 clearing my plate
Mm,
because there were a lot of things that I was involved in. And so 2023 was really full of saying no and just like fulfilling obligations.
mm,
So I'm just hoping for 2024 really being like the best yes for our family and for me as a whole. For it being full of things that really do matter and serve us well, and not just to fill our calendar.
mm,
I'm looking forward to, again, I don't really have any big goals or like anything I want to accomplish this year that I can even think of because I still feel like, my ministry is raising our kids and raising them well and being present, but really just like some miracles, thriving, and whatever that looks like. Does that look like, I joined the gym a few months ago, getting healthier in that sense, just moving my body, not like a weight thing or anything. And just making time for community and friends, praying miracles for my friends, for my husband, for him to have a good community. And I've got friends that are having babies that are miracle babies. So just wanting to see my circle thrive. And because I know that like as they do, that's just like an overflow and will cause me to want to thrive as well, So I really don't have like a verse or a word yet, but usually towards the end of the year, Andrew and I do Jenny Allen's Dream Guide. And
Do what?
Jenny Allen has a dream guide
Okay.
that highly recommend. It's very reflective and forward thinking, but basically financially, relationally, and maybe personally, I can't remember, but it's like, what books did you read the past year? How were your finances? How did you spend your time? What did it look like? Friendships, marriage, church, like, all these categories. It's very like, look back on the year. What are the wins and the losses? But then also like, what are you looking forward to in this area for 2024? So it's kind of like, be thinking about it for intentionality, but it's not like a set in stone kind of thing. It's just,
it's not like here's a goal, here's the end date of the goal. If you don't achieve it, you failed.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's very much, I would say more so intentionality. What happened in 2023 that you don't want to happen in 2024, like, or what didn't happen that you really want to look forward to this year. So I'm excited to fill that out, mainly to reflect on this year and just see, like, as I reflect, it shows me what God has done. And we've been doing that for the past 4 or 5 years, just at the end of the year. So just dreaming, and I love to dream. But again, I don't like to set like measurable goals. I'm just not that person because I'll never reach the date, or like I'll fall off the wagon, or I'll just, it's either I'll become obsessed with like, oh my gosh, I have to do this, or
very
like
legalistic.
failure in life. Yes, very legalistic, or
I'm the same way.
Just forget about it.
Cody has decided to do Jonathan Pokluda, who was the pastor of the church we attended in
Yeah.
Waco, and my friend's husband works there, and he like helps her write his books. He posted on Instagram the other day about, I don't know if you've heard of 75 hard. It's like
I've
some kind
heard
of
it.
routine
Yes.
thing. Well, he put out this challenge for 365 not so hard. And it's like if you some of the challenges are like spend 15 minutes in prayer without distraction, read one chapter of the
Yeah.
Bible a day, move your body for 15 minutes, drink half your body weight in ounces of water every day, and then no eating after 8 p.m. And so Cody has decided to do it. So
Which
I'll
is
be
not
cheering
so
him
hard.
on
Doesn't seem so hard, but it's like,
when the
and
kids
like
get
you
sick,
said,
when you haven't slept. Yes, yeah.
I mean, I read the Gospels in November with the
Mm.
podcast, and it was like 3 chapters of the Gospels every day. And so it took you through the entire,
Mm.
like 4 Gospels in a month. And that was really good. I don't know what I'm going to do in 2024 because I'm like you, like to read my Bible every day.
It's so hard for me. I don't know if
It
like if
is.
you're listening to this and that's you, like you are not alone. It takes discipline,
It is
and
discipline.
I would much rather turn on a TV show, truthfully, like just
Oh,
being
yeah.
honest. Like
Well, if I don't do it early in the morning
it won't
or during
happen.
my kids' nap time, it's not going to happen. And I have to like put it on my to-do list. It's
Mhm.
not just like, oh, it happens automatically. But I have learned that because I did the Bible recap year before last, but it took me a year and a half to read the entire Bible. And I think I want to read it again in a year. But the Bible recap I really enjoyed because she has a recap podcast. And so it's
You
like
can listen
you
along.
read this
Okay.
passage and then you listen to her recapping it and really like what was your God shot and stuff like that. So I did enjoy that. And I learned that not every day read my Bible was some like extraordinary, like, oh my gosh, like groundbreaking, earth shaking. God
My
is
life
doing
is
miracles every
totally
single day.
changed. Yeah.
Yeah. It's more so the discipline, just like I go to the gym a few times a week so that I can walk upstairs without losing my breath. Same way. Like
Yeah.
I
It's a good practice to
that
have.
muscle memory.
Yeah.
It is. It's a
Mhm.
good practice. It's muscle memory. And when life is in the pits, or when my friends' lives are in the pits, I can remember, oh yeah, I read that in Habakkuk last week. Okay. I got you, girl.
Mhm.
So it's not necessarily like I'm studying the Bible every single day. It's more of a, let me get this just so that it's like second nature. So I have no like good advice for when to read your Bible, when to have your quote unquote quiet time. Like
Because it's never quiet. Let's
it's
be
never
real.
quiet. I
Never.
think you just have to like make it a part of your day, even if it means
Putting it in your
your
calendar.
kids
Or your
put it in your
kids are,
calendar, or
yeah.
your kids are in front of you, or like they're watching TV and you're reading the Bible. Like you don't have to be in this like little box,
You don't
completely
have to be
alone,
in your
silent
comfy
by
chair
yourself.
in your
No,
closet.
I mean like your kids seeing you read the
Oh, that's the
Bible
best gift you could ever give them. Like,
ever, because it shows them like, oh yeah, I watch my
that's a,
mom read the Bible every
yeah.
single day. Like that's just a normal part of life. So okay, like, and maybe I should put that on my to-do list this year.
Put it on your to-do list. 2024 to-do list. Well, I don't know. I really enjoyed this conversation, kind of talking about 2023 and looking at this year, 2024. So we want to pose the question to you guys. What, if you want to take some time reflecting, take the next 10 minutes after you listen to this and just think about like, what do I want to leave behind in 2023 and what do I want to carry on in 2024? And don't make it some pressure-filled thing of like I must have 10 things that I'm going to do every single day, like my husband is going to try to do. But
Right. I'm not
I could
participating in
never.
that challenge.
No. But yeah, if you want to do that and like take some time to reflect, send us a note and tell us what you're thinking about for 2024, and we'll be praying alongside with you. And we just really thank you guys for making 2023
Yes.
so fun for us in the podcast world. It might not have been fun the rest of our life, at least mine.
Yep.
But
It's a perfect outlet.
yeah, the podcast has been just so fun, and we're so thankful just for you guys listening, and we pray that you will continue to listen and just be filled up with encouraging words and just the realness of what it's like to be a mom who works and her husband is in ministry. So
Yep.
thanks for listening. Go ahead and click subscribe anywhere you get podcasts. Give us a follow on Instagram at YouAreMorePod. Leave us a review. That's the best way you can help us
Yep.
out.
Yep.
We love seeing some of just the positive feedback from you guys on what you've liked, and it's just been really great. And then if you have anything you want to hear us talk about for 45 minutes, send us a note too, and
we'd
we'll try
love
to
it.
add it into the list of things. But we love you guys. You're awesome, and we're just thankful to be here. Happy New Year.